What's going on, guys? PoorManGames here, and we're gonna do a reaction video to Elden Ring. So, we're gonna check out Fighting Cowboys video while I eat some food, and we'll go discuss we'll see the gameplay and is if it's cool or not. All right, let's go.
Now, I say initial, but these are actually my impressions after spending roughly 15 hours in the network test. This is the same network test that's going to be going public very soon, and I've had a chance to play it early, and so today we're going to be talking about it. So right out the gate, I mean, I really got to say, I am having just an absolute blast.
It was Fighting Cowboy.
And
again,
one thing I want to point out is a lot of people
I watch him all the time
that are disparaging it. They're like, oh, it's just open world Dark Souls. Like, that isn't the coolest sounding thing ever. But in reality, it's more than just open world Dark Souls. I mean, sure, there is a lot of Dark Souls here. Don't get me wrong. This is clearly the katana animation from Dark Souls. You know, this is the shield jiggle from Dark Souls. We still have the rolls and everything. But there's so much more here that sets this game apart. What FromSoft has essentially done is they have taken the best parts of Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro and pulled them all together.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like this game, Elden Ring, is like a mixture between Dark Souls,
think is going to go down
Zelda Breath of the Wild,
as their best game to date, and possibly as their best game of all time.
Combined.
So right off the bat, you can see sneaking is alive and well.
It's gonna be great.
Along with the jumping. The sneaking and the jumping are taking pretty much straight from Sekiro, and you can straight up stealth up behind stuff now, get backstabs, just like you would in Sekiro. Well, it's more of a Dark Souls backstab, but you get the idea, you know. But not only that, we have a couple mechanics that are really cool. One, which this is more Bloodborne. Actually, I'm gonna hang on. I gotta pull out a weaker weapon because this thing is gonna smash everybody.
Well, look at the UI.
So we can, you know, we have parries, of course, how we used to. But besides parries, we also have a block and counter attack now, which you can see put enemies down into a critical state where we can then get follow up a big hit to finish them off. But it's not just that; it also works if we do enough damage. Essentially, it's like there is a stagger bar almost that's invisible. And if you do enough damage to that stagger bar, you put them into that critical state where you're able to get
more
basically a
advanced
visceral attack.
Sekiro.
And that works on certain bosses as well. It works on basic enemies. And that's really, really cool to me. Of course, parrying is still in the game like normal, so if you're a big fan of parrying, you can still do that. Now, in terms of the counter block thing, it's not universal. So basic enemies, it'll work very easy against, but something like this guy, if I try to block him, come on, hit me. You can see it's not doing it immediately, and that's because this guy has like a greater stagger bar. He's considered, you know, just a more unique enemy. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, whereas a parry would still work on this guy. I don't know if I have a parry shield on me, do I? Okay, let's try. Really bad at parrying in this game so far.
So I know they add one more skill, Arcane, to the game. So I wonder how it's going to play into
higher end enemies like this.
Magic.
You're going to want to have a parry that gets off to take them out. But anyway, point is that we now have shield breaks. So somebody that's playing as a, you know, if you're playing as a, you know, great shield one-hander type user, you know, the ultra tanky approach that was really popular in like Dark Souls 2, or I mean all the Dark Souls really, it's going to be better than ever before because you're now going to be able to block and then do that counter attack to do big damage to enemies. Not only that, but a lot of things have been brought back. Namely, one that I want to point out is we have power stancing has returned. Now, I'm not talking power stancing in the Dark Souls 2 stance, where you have a special stance, but if you have two matching weapons, they don't have to be the exact same weapon, just the same class, so these are hammers. So I would need to have two hammers, I would need to have two katanas, two greatswords. I could actually do this putting on both of these greatswords, even though they're different to show. But when you have both on, your L1 becomes a unique moveset with that weapon.
I think Dark Souls 3 had a weapon that was like that, right?
You also have the rolling L1s, you have the backstep L1s. So by using two matching weapons, we have a full expanded moveset. And thus far, this has worked with every type of double weapon I've found. I mean, obviously, you can't double bow. But you could use double greatswords, you could use double clubs, double axes, double spears, presumably double ultras, but I have not seen ultras in the network test. So just from a top-down perspective, like I said, from the combat, they have very much refined this. They've taken elements from all of the games to pull together what I would consider to be the best combat to date. You know, the power stance
it's a combination
is back,
of everything
stagger
together.
thresholds are back,
All different Souls
being
games.
able to get the parry
That's
or
what it
the
looks like
shield
to me.
counter or all of that. I mean, there's just a lot here that I'm in love with it, to be frank. Another thing which has changed that I'm really liking is we can now charge certain spells. Now, not every spell, but take Peace Call, for example. You can see how far that's going, just to get an exact. I'm going to stand right here on this broken one. You can see it's going pretty far.
That's kind of cool.
But I can hold the button and charge it, and you can see it'll go even longer. It'll also deal more damage, and it's not just this spell. There's a couple. There's like a Soul Greatsword type thing that you can charge, and when you charge it up, it'll hit even harder, do a thrust. There's certain spells that you can effectively channel, so it's not a charge, but as long as you hold down the button, you keep doing it until you burn through all of your FP. We actually have one of those with Dragonfire. If I were to cast Dragonfire, I can hold down the button, and you can see my guy's just going to keep breathing this Dragonfire
It's like the
out.
Stone Dragon.
If I had enough
ability you can
FP
do.
for a third cast, he would have done it, but I would have run out right there. So, you know, I would say pretty significant changes to how melee works in the game, as well as pretty significant changes to stuff like the spell casting. Overall, I'm really happy with how things have turned out. So let me hop over here. We're going to talk a little bit more about spells and
the
stats
map.
next.
What do you guys think of the map?
And please excuse my voice. I'm still getting over a cold, so I'm not as clearly spoken as I usually am. I'm like muting and coughing. But anyway, so taking a look at the stats now, I think this seems to be a pretty good split of how they've consolidated stuff. So we have Vigor, which is still HP, Mind, which is our FP now, Endurance, which is just going to be stamina, Strength, which interestingly enough now also counts similar to Vitality from Dark Souls 3. So on top of strength scaling, this is also going to raise our maximum equipment load. Dexterity, they've detailed it out in full. So besides dex weapons, fall damage,
Yeah,
harder
I
to
like
get
how they
knocked off the
tell you
horse,
everything.
cast
Because before
speed,
they
all
really
that
tell
stuff.
you what every single
Intelligence is similar to before.
attribute.
It's going to be sorceries. Faith is going to be incantations. And then we have Arcane, which is a new stat. So this is going to be attribute governing discovery, death resistance, and certain sorceries and incantations. Now, I haven't found any sorceries and incantations that scale with Arcane in the network test, but I would assume it's essentially going to be some of the more unique ones. Now, what's interesting is if we look at spells, there are some things that look very much like Pyromancy's Dragonfire, you know, spew flaming breath. Over here, Feast upon Flame throws balls of raging fire. Over here, the yellow flame of frenzy bursts through your eyes, and these are very much pyromancies. Like, you use them and there's no question that these are pyromancies, you know?
Being burst through your eyes, like Superman?
But in this game, they are considered incantations, and the same thing goes for spells. I found a blood ritual spell as well as like a dark meteor that I can call down, and both of those just fall into the sorceries bucket. So essentially, magic is being consolidated.
That thing in the background?
This is closer to. I mean,
That's
this
in
is
the air.
You know, even more
That's
consolidated than
from,
Dark Souls 3 because we basically
Ghost
have either miracles or we have sorceries, pyromancies, hexes. You know, there's no separate delineations anymore. So on one hand, that definitely opens you up to more. On the other, I think some people might complain about variety, but personally, I think it just makes it more accessible, you know? It was always a pain in the ass when you had to dual level both faith and intelligence to be able to use dark sorceries. So anyway, I am a big fan of that.
I agree with that.
Some other things that I want to touch on that are new. So we have item crafting now. You can find things out in the world just while you're exploring, like any open world game, and you can use those to craft a variety of consumables. In particular, we have your...
Yeah, see, that right there is a big deal when you can craft stuff, because that gives you another element of the actual game. Like, it'll make people want to play even more. That gives it the more replay value you can get, because usually with Souls games, they don't have that. So, like, after you beat the game, that's it. But now you can actually collect resources and everything. It's great. It's a W.
Regular consumables, so stuff like this is going to be fire stuff, throwing knives, etc. Cures poison, There's hemorrhage, boosts fire damage negation, boosts immunity. We have throwing pots. So this one is a purple haze. This one throws behind for fire, holy damage, fire damage. We have perfume arts, which I don't know what these are because I haven't discovered any in the network test. And then of course we have all of our arrows and bolts. And you can make fire arrows, sleep arrows, poison arrows, regular arrows. So all of the stuff that you used to just have to be like, oh, you know, I need to load up on arrows. Let me run by merchant XYZ. Now you just craft that stuff. And it's pretty basic stuff, you know, thin animal bones, found by hunting beasts, found by hunting birds, found near wildfowls and elsewhere. Everything is detailed out where you can find this. And so you can just craft that on the go, assuming you buy a crafting kit, which, you know, Santo over here sells for like 300 runes, which, by the way, runes are this game's equivalent of souls. Moving on from there, let's talk about the multiplayer changes, because this is one of the biggest.
Is that a finger?
So they've pulled everything in here, man. The multiplayer is essentially, it's like everything we want in multiplayer has just been streamlined. So to break it down, first up we have the fur calling finger remedy. When you pop this, you're then able to see summon signs. You can see hostile signs as well as friendly signs.
Okay.
But there's not a ember type system per se. Your health is always going to be what it is. But if you just use one of these, it means, hey, I'm looking for people. I want to find people to play with. As you can see, it didn't change my stats or
okay, so it
like
activates online mode.
Finger Sever sends people back. Beyond that, we have fingers and effigies here. Now, the golden finger here, this leaves a sign for co-op. There isn't like white bros and sun bros or anything like that. There may be covenants later, but in the network test, you put down this sign, and that means you want to co-op.
Have the sun bros.
You put down this side, and this means you want to come into the world to fight somebody. Red sign duels. Now, not only that, but we also have effigies. And what's cool about this is this will send a sign to a nearby summoning pool. So we're going to hop on over to a summoning pool, which, as you can see, there's full fast travel between any grace site you've discovered. Graces serve as this game's bonfire. Additionally, let's talk about graces real fast before I continue with multiplayer. Once you discover the maiden, so at graces you can pass the time. We can change the time of day in the game. You can level up from any grace. You don't need to go specifically to a maiden.
It's real time.
You can distribute your flasks freely between like your FP flasks and your health flasks.
So it's a standard thing.
You can switch up all of your spells with whatever you want to put on. We have Wondrous Physics. These are new. Basically, it's a custom built potion. It has one use, and you can add different effects.
That adds more layers to the game.
This one will boost my stamina as well as restore half my HP when I use it.
I like that.
But if I wanted, I could, you know, make it so that when I drink it, it's going to cause an explosion and deal damage to things near me. So there's a bunch of different effects we're going to be able to find. Presumably, we could do something like boost stamina and boost attack. You know, this is all just conjecture, of course, but really cool concept because you get basically just one custom-built potion. Beyond that, we can sort our inventory chest. We have Ashes of War, which that's a whole topic, so we'll go more into that later. And then there's just an About Grace thing, which will summon the waifu up, so you can sit there and talk to her, and she'll tell you more about it. But getting back on track with the multiplayer, I have exactly 30 minutes I can talk today, so I'm like, I gotta go. So here we have an effigy, and what's interesting is when you go up to these things, the effigy then becomes active. Now, effigies are essentially gathering points. So let's say I was trying to meet up with somebody in particular. You know, Greg was going to play, and I'm like, hey, you know, put your sign, you know, right by the thing right here, and I'll try and find it. That would still work. But let's say that you're just like, you know what? I just want to help somebody that's new to the game. I just, you know, I want to do a little bit of co-op. All you would do now is you go to your multiplayer menu, you do golden effigy, and then you hit OK. And now instead of putting a sign right here on the ground, what it's going to do is it's going to send the sign into a little pool. So this whole area right here, right by this little effigy, anybody who has used an effigy will send a sign there. So it's almost like a Uber pickup pool, but for like co-op or PvP. So if there's a particular PvP hotspot, instead of red signs just scattered all over the place, they'll all be condensed by a nice little pool. Now, we're not 100% yet.
This will make it faster for like actually doing co-op and PvPing. I think it's great that they have a pool right there. That's a great idea. I like it.
Actually asked Bandai for clarification, but we also have this thing called multiplayer status on the world map. and when you do it, it shows two icons. Usually there's a blue one and a red one. The red one's not here right now, but I believe these represent either co-op hotspots or PvP hotspots where duels are happening, because the red one has 2 swords crossed, whereas this one has 3, so it makes me think cooperative play.
So I heard it's 4-player co-op.
But we are waiting on clarification from software on that at this time. Which actually, let's look at the map we're looking at. So map is really cool. I really like kind of the hand-drawn detail here with the art. You can see any different travels you can go to. You can see main sites, Stormgate, you know, catacombs are over here, Dragon Pass Cave, Nomadic Merchant.
So what Cabo didn't say was, with the map, you actually have to find fragments of it to build the map. Yeah, so when you do that, more gets discovered. Again, see, they added more to it, so it makes it more fun.
Lots and lots of details on the map, and this is a very small section of the map. I mean, it goes way past the black outline. This is like literally just the start of the game. We have one real boss here and some mini bosses, and that's it.
Oh, so this game's gonna be huge.
Let me turn this off for now. Don't want to. There we go. Draw a sign. So getting back on track with the multiplayer, though. Beyond that, you know, our effigies and our fingers, we also have the bloody finger. Now, this is the dueling or the invasion item. When you pop this, you're going to invade another player's world. As far as we understand on what they've told us, to invade somebody, you need either somebody who has used the Taunter's Tongue, which this is this welcomes invaders in, or you're invading somebody who's doing co-op. So gank squads are going to be really big in Elden Ring, because it's you know, if you invade, it's almost always going to be a 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3. So just something to keep in mind. But you know, if I wanted to play through the game and have viewers invade me on a stream, I could pop this thing, and then even without a co-op person present, invaders are still able to come into the world and try to attack me. Which personally, I like this, because I think this, you know, people that don't want to deal with invasions, they're usually going to rage quit anyway. And so
yeah, I feel like usually people with like invaders and stuff like that, I don't know, for me playing it, I usually play offline if I don't want to get invaded, you know? So having this feature here, I'm not sure how it's gonna, you know, the reception of it will handle with the community, because like, I know people love invading and they love it. Well, I mean, the reason why you invade is to get items, right? For a certain covenant, guild, whatever they call it. But I guess if they don't have that feature now, then there's no, what's the point of invading? Maybe there is still covenants in the game, we just don't know yet. But that's the purpose, like, you're doing this so you can get a certain item. Yeah, so, I don't know, we'll see. Because that's what people usually just play offline, you don't want to get invaded. And if you are online, things like that, then, you know, it is what it is. Like you said, you just quit out the game and just restart your lobby you're in.
So I like that this now opens it up to where, you know, if I'm open to having PvP while I'm playing by myself, I'll pop this, let people come in. Whereas, you know, if I just want to kind of play solo and not worry about it, I can do that. From the testing that me and the other Souls guys have been doing, some of them think that interacting with an effigy opens you up to invasions. I haven't seen that yet. I don't think it's been confirmed by the dev team and whatnot, but there are some... some of us are thinking that may be the case, but that's not certain, so I just wanted to put that out there. Moving on from there, we also have the blue Cipher ring and the white Cipher ring. Now, the white Cipher ring is similar to the Way of the White from Dark Souls 2. As long as you have this on, if somebody invades you, it'll summon a blue for help. The blue Cipher ring, as you can guess it, is the kind of second half to that. You just have this thing active like that. You'll now respond to calls for rescue. And then as long as that is active, if somebody gets invaded, I can get yanked in as a blue to help that player if they have the white Cipher. So I'm a really big fan.
Sorry for pausing it, but that makes it all right. So yeah, ganking. So there's more overall. There's more co-op signs than invaders. Well, showing up. I mean, okay.
Of what they've done with the multiplayer here, because instead of having, you know, different signs and the different covenants, and oh well, this one is an invade, but this one is the purple bro, and then you have your white bro and your gold bro and your blue bro. I feel they've really kind of just streamlined it. You know, you have people that want to do co-op, you have people that want to do duels, you have people that are masochists, you have people that want to invade, you have people that want to, you know, have that sense of justice, and then you just have people that want help. I don't know if we're going to
That's
start
cool.
with all these things. We may just start with them because it's the network test. But either way, I really like how everything is so cleanly
That's gonna be
laid
fun.
out. Like the
Like, you can
UI in this
actually
game
help
and the
people
organization
out
of items. I'm like,
with the
some
blue
good shit.
Cipher
I
one.
really like this. So anyway, multiplayer has really been streamlined, and I'm a big fan of it now.
That's good
So
because like
next, we're
multiplayer is
talking
always
about
an
one of the
issue, and
biggest
so
changes to the
it was
game,
always
which I
confusing.
really like, and this is Ashes of War. Now, what Ashes of War essentially do is it
upgrading?
allows you to customize a weapon more to your liking, namely in the fact that you can change up what enhancement is on that weapon. So let me put on the Bastard Sword here. And with the Bastard Sword on, my regular weapon art is going to be the Stomp. I can do the Stomp into that big hit. I can do the Stomp, you know.
Your weapon
and,
art.
You know, it basically gives me some poise, tanks a hit, uses FP. But let's say you don't like that Stomp. You want something else. Well, this is where Ashes of War
no
come
way,
in.
you can change
With
it.
Ashes of War, you can customize your weapon
Oh, that's amazing.
based on the Ash. So if I go Piercing Fang,
What?
now instead of having that Stomp, I'm going to do a long thrust.
That's
there
a game
with the
changer
Bastard
right
Sword.
there. That's crazy.
If I go up,
right, because the thing is with Dark Souls, every single weapon has a certain weapon art it does, or like skill it does. And so certain weapons you want to have, like, you have this one weapon that you want to use just an overhead swing on, but instead it does the piercing attack, right? There's nothing you can do about it in Dark Souls, but in this they let you actually change between each and every one of them. And it looks like here they have different like tiers of it, because you see the blue and then you see the purple. I'm not sure if that means like this is a more rare one, and I don't know, is it turning the Fortnite now? You got the blue, the purple, and the exotic,
repeated thrust.
orange. Microtransactions. Oh, that's new.
Multiple stabs. And this is going to vary
That looks pretty
depending
bad, though.
on the weapon type. But not only that, when you do one of these Ashes of War, it can also change the element of the weapon. So take Glint Sword Arc, for example. With Glint Sword Arc, I will get the Glint Sword Arc spell, which I'll show in a second. But I can also decide to either keep
I
my
see.
weapon
That's what the
standard,
blue is,
or I
magic.
can change it to split
the other
scaling
one-
with
okay.
magic, which, as you can see, will remove some of the strength and dexterity scaling, but boost the intellect scaling up to C. So
Oh, I
now my
see.
sword is going to hit for half
the
magic
purple
damage,
one's
and on
probably
top of
like
that,
for
when I use
dark.
the ability, I'm going to summon up these cool little swords
Whoa!
that, as you can probably guess, will attack people
Yo,
like
it's like
Golden
Black
Soul
Clover.
Lances. So I really, 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 really like this.
That's badass.
Because, you know, there was certainly metas and things that people gravitated towards in all the previous Souls games, but we've never had this level of customization before. I mean,
right.
you know, now you can pick the weapon you want, and you can change the scaling on it, but you can also change the specific weapon art, which I love. Obviously,
That's so
and
sick.
because of that, we have the FP gauge again. We don't have spell uses, we have the FP gauge, but you know, whereas before, weapon arts felt very much like some weapon arts were good, some were like, not too bad. Now, oh my god, it's literally pick your own
And
weapon.
it increases the meta too, because my thing with Demon Souls, the remake, or Demon Souls in general, is just like there's a set amount of like builds you can have for that game, because everything's just like, for the most part, a lot of it's the same, and all the weapons that are really good are OP, and it's like 3 of them. The blue sword, whatever it's called. So like, you know what I mean? This gives it more. This gives you more depth. So this is what they're talking about with the RPG mechanics, how they really flesh it out even more. Customization right there, it just adds another level to it. Again, it's just great. I love it. That's great.
Weapon art, that is so freaking cool to me. Like one of here's a cool one. This is Ash of War Gravitas, which this doesn't work in PvP. I tried it with Rurikon earlier, but let me put on both. I'll show you both clubs. So if I have just the regular club on,
Oh, the arrows stay
I'm going
there.
to stomp and then go into a special club
So
combo.
poise.
If I have the Ash of War Gravitas on, boom, and that's like a gravity
Oh,
vacuum
AoE
that'll
attack.
suck enemies in, which then, assumingly, I could, you know, do an explosion or something else to hurt them. But how cool is that? I mean, literally, we're customizing our weapon arts. I love it. All right, what do we got? We got 9 minutes. 9 minutes. All right. Some other things I want to talk about. Let's talk about a dungeon. We'll just go to Groveside Cave.
There's dungeons.
So the dungeons
Yo,
are static in this world, and these are very
that's
reminiscent
Zelda right there.
of the Chalice dungeons from Bloodborne. But I really, really like how these have been implemented. I think they're really cool. Which, real fast, last thing. So there are unique weapons like this dragon scale blade. You cannot change the Ash of War on this. This has a unique Ash of War that is limited to just that. But it's a really cool one, so I'll show you all that in a second.
So I guess the generic ones.
But so you can find these dungeons and catacombs, and there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, this one's a dungeon. This is Stormfoot Catacombs. That's Dragon Pass Cave. This is the
You can play this
Hero's
game
Grave.
forever.
This is the Agil Tunnels, Limgrave Tunnels, and they're all different. So kind of the cookie cutter feel of the Chalice dungeons is gone. These are now static dungeons, so a lot more similar to a dungeon of say Skyrim or something. Where it's like, oh, have you found the crazy, the lightning and ice katana? Yeah, let me tell you, it's at this dungeon over here.
That guy was a
so
human
people are going to be sharing
at a bonfire.
areas that they find.
I'd be like, what? Wait a second.
As you go into these dungeons, there's going to be a grace site at them. There's going to be a summoning thing, and then usually there's going to be a group of enemies.
So Chalice dungeons, in case you haven't played Bloodborne, are arenas that you go into that are procedurally generated. And the faster you complete it, the better reward you get from it. So it's something like that.
As you get inside, and then there's usually going to be a boss at the end. So this one, you go inside, and there are a bunch of wolves. As you can see, the wolves are just kind of waiting for me to jump in, and I'm going to try and kill all these wolves real fast. This is one of the first very basic ones.
Oh,
the wolves got me. But anyway. So you go into this dungeon, you're going to kill wolves, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that you can get, and then as you continue deeper into the dungeon, eventually you're going to be faced with a mini-boss.
So is dying a mechanic?
The mini-bosses
mini-boss.
aren't particularly strong. In fact, for the most part, you can kind of just nuke them. But it's still cool to me that you have these little dungeons where you can go and you can find, it's just little snippets. They're not very hard bosses. Let me try the charged fire. I haven't actually done this yet.
That spell's ass. Bro. I always hate those spells, man. And it's so easy to dodge in PvP. You just gotta move to the left or right slightly.
So anyway, kill the wolves, and look, there's cave moss in here because we're in a cave. So that's a material used for certain stuff.
Items.
We'll gather up all the cave moss.
So how does it scale, though, the damage?
And animal bones. Over here we got silver fireflies, another crafting material. And then as we go deeper on into the cave, eventually, once we get down in here, there would be a boss. Now these bosses don't respawn, and once you kill them, they're gone. But, we're talking full-on boss health bar, all that stuff. After I beat the boss, I was able to go over here, loot a little chest, and then I was able to come over here, and this would just warp me back to the entrance.
No,
but so you have these scattered
kinda
all
like Final
over
Fantasy
the world.
14.
And just in the closed network test, I think we've discovered like 5 or 6 of these caves. So they do seem to be set locations, but I really like it because I always felt that the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, they were just kind of aimless, like I'd run through them and I'd go through it as fast as I could to find the lever to open the door to continue on. And whereas these, there was one where I had to find a lever. This one was pretty straightforward. You just went down. There was one I did that had a number of mining
Bro, where's the Bloodborne PC coming out? The version of the game. Like, come on, man. We're about to get Elden Ring before Bloodborne PC.
That was almost like a labyrinth, and I'd kind of get lost through the mining tunnels, and then I eventually found the boss. So they have taken a lot of care here to make these dungeons very unique.
Okay, so they're one and done.
I mean, some other things, we obviously have eccentric
is that,
merchants all
Santa
over
Claus?
the place. This guy, I love that he's dressed as Santa. I found one that had like a gray Santa suit. And there's also a lot of just like really, really cool stuff in the world to discover as well. So I'm going to just show off some stuff before we wrap up here. But like that carriage, we saw that in the preview footage, just kind of roaming around. We have summons we can pull up now. If you're not doing co-op play, let me... I'll have to get somewhere where I can actually summon them. Summon my horse up real fast. We're in this way.
I love the horse. What do you guys think of the horse
combat is super, super satisfying.
Really? That's W. I love how it jumps like that midair.
Either light attack to the left or the right, and do your heavy
there's
attacks.
the dragon
left
boss.
Heavy attack, right heavy attack, and I can charge it. Here's a big ass dragon. This thing usually isn't here. It was actually up in the sky there was like a prayer site here, and this thing came swooping on down, scared the bejesus out of me. But, you know, it's basically just a boss out here in the overworld, so there's going to be fun activities like
sick.
that. There are these, like, little orbs that run around on the ground, and when you kill them, you'll get unique spells or unique Ashes of War, all kinds of stuff. I mean, honestly, there is so much in this game. It's unreal. This is
So what's the aggro range,
go
though?
down as
That's
the
what I'm
best game
curious
FromSoft
about.
has ever made. I can already tell you I'm in love with it. I am completely infatuated with it, because when we first heard that it was going to be an open world adventure, that's what I wanted. I wanted like open world Dark Souls, and that's what I got. That is what I got.
I guess Sekiro like tested the waters of the open water.
Drive by casting. Actually, I'm going to show y'all something cool if I can get this guy. Like
Like
this a
that
lot.
scene with the great ape.
Actually, here, let me get off my
that
horse.
big-
That'll make it a little easier.
Open water-ish land thing. I don't know.
This is one of the coolest things to me. So when you knock someone off the horse... Oh no, he died! Oh, that's so shitty. So, I didn't get to show it there, but when you knock them off the horse, they'll fall to the ground, and you can do a, like a Neo final blow. Essentially, you get a critical attack, and you can hit that person while they're on the ground. And just it usually finishes them off. But so, yeah, I mean, there's
Okay,
just...
so he's an item.
Like, y'all, this game is going to consume my life. I mean, this is a cool little event where if you...
That was in the trailer.
Can kill these guys, then you can loot the chest that's here and get like a badass weapon and armor. And there we go. There we go. There's a new horse guy. I'm gonna try and get the horse thing. I really want to show y'all the horse thing. Oh shit!
Oh.
Where'd I jump? But yeah. Also, fall damage is very different in this game. Like some areas you'll experience fall damage, whereas others there won't be any fall damage.
There's giant crabs.
Basically, in the overworld, you either have a fall that's going to be critical, or it's just not going to hurt you, which is good because you know you see all this verticality and you're like, well, I mean it's a Souls game. I don't really want to, you know, I don't want to get just fall damage everywhere I go. Too strong. I keep killing him and the horse. Oh well. Well, either way, I am just about at my 30 minutes. So we're going to have to wrap things up here. Rest assured, there is going to be more Elden Ring content coming your way very soon. And of course,
definitely check out Fine Cowboy, you guys. He's one of the best out there. A goat. But okay. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, it looks really cool. I wonder how it's going to play out, honestly. Because it's pretty much open world, so... You just explore. I guess the way they have it implemented is that you explore the game, and you find everything as you explore. It's like Breath of the Wild. They don't really give you any. They don't hold your hand at all. I'm just not sure. Well, maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. I'm just wondering how long that'll last for. You know what I mean? Like with that. You know, because the stories with Dark Souls and things like that is that it's not really like they don't really push you into a story direction. You have to pretty much like find your own path to figure out who's the NPC to talk to the right way and all that stuff like that. So with this, in this case, I guess it's the same thing. So I mean, we gotta see how it turns out. Honestly, it's gonna be very interesting. It looks really cool. I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm a big fan of FromSoft. You know, like everyone's been copying them the past decade, honestly. Right? Am I wrong? I mean, I think Dark Souls probably one of the most influential games of all time. I think the biggest two right now have been Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild. And then Grand Theft Auto's in his own world, you know? So, all right, but that's my thoughts. We'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna watch some more reactions of things, and I'll probably do some more reactions to different clips people post online if it's something that intrigues me. Um, so we'll see up until release. I think I'm good on PC or PS5. I'm not sure yet. Oh, do you guys get access to the beta itself? I didn't get it. They told me no on my email. Oh well. But we're just gonna give a reaction. So let me know down below if you guys got your own beta code, and let me know how you guys think of the game. But yeah, man, we'll see how it goes, you guys. Hopefully it's good. It's looking promising. I love the RPG aspect of it. It seems like more it has more repetitive stuff to it, so like it makes you want to play the game more. You know what I mean? The crafting mechanics, the way I have more customization. It's gonna be cool. And just magic in general looks badass in this game. I'm definitely gonna use like a mage build or something. Yeah, definitely. But alright, guys, it's been PoorManGames.